The matter is urgent, Lady Josephine.
I am well aware of that, revered mother.
We will need them to return to Val Royeaux as soon as possible. There are ceremonies, ordinations. Maker's mercy.
That's quite impossible at the moment. However, I will see to this matter as soon as possible.
My Lord Inquisitor. Please, may I have a word with you?
Just when you've solved one crisis, another springs up to take its place.
I am sorry to place this burden on your shoulders, but you are the only one who can help. With the political turmoil put to rest, our minds turn to a single question. The next divine. We cannot answer it without the left and right hands of Divine Justinia V.
I have already told you, revered mother. Lady Leliana and Seeker Cassandra cannot be spared from their duties.
But surely with the support of the Empire, the Inquisition will not be harmed by the loss of just 2 souls.
Why do you need Liliana and Cassandra?
They were Her Holiness's most trusted advisors. They represent her legacy, her hopes for peace in Thedas. They could rally the Grand Clerics to follow as no candidate from the clergy has been able to.
Liliana and Cassandra are candidates to become the Divine? How is that possible?
Not yet, but they could be. We need them to be. There is precedent. Other times when clerics remained deadlocked, a successor was chosen from outside the clergy. Lady Liliana and Seeker Cassandra were Justinia's most trusted friends and advisors. Our late Divine is still held in high esteem. To honor her, the Grand Clerics might support one of them as successor.
How long does the Chantry need them?
Several months, at least. If one of them is crowned Divine, she would not be returning to the Inquisition.
These aren't just any 2 people. They are key members of the Inquisition.
For the sake of Thedas, we must ask you to make this sacrifice.
This will have to be settled later. The Inquisitor has only just returned and has important business to attend to. You must excuse us, revered mother. Don't let them detract from your victory at Alam-Shiral. Now that the political situation has stabilized, we can devote more Inquisition resources to pursuing Corypheus. I would talk to Hawke. Soon.
Will you not consider it, Lady Cassandra? The clerics are still sequestered. If no one steps forward, they will debate until...
And you think I could make them agree? I've heard enough for one day, Mother Giselle.
Talk to her, your worship.
The fun never ends in Skyhold, does it?
The Inquisitor was a funny Qunari. That's what they'll say one day. You watch. I assume you've heard that Leliana and I are both candidates to be the next Divine. Because of what happened at Alam-Shiral, of course, the Empire favors you. Thus everyone close to you. So now the Chantry bandies our names about without even asking us first.
I think you'd make an excellent Divine.
Truly? I never look good in hats. Surely it was never meant to be like this. The Chantry, the Circle of Magi, the Templars, this cannot be what they intended when it all began. The Chantry should provide faith, hope. Instead, it cannot veer from its course, even in the face of certain death.
If you're concerned, then make it better.
Did you know Varric is Andrastian? Oh, he blasphemes with every second breath, but deep down he believes. His heart is virtuous. But he would never step foot in a Chantry. It should be the first place to which the virtuous turn. It needs to change. Perhaps I must be the one to change it.
Your determination is admirable.
Some men would call it an unattractive trait.
I'm not those men. You're not the only candidate. What about Liliana?
Liliana says she wishes to follow Justinia's legacy. But she and I remember a different person. Justinia knew her fellow clerics and the people would only accept so much change. Liliana would cast it all aside and start over, I think. And that would be chaos for us all.
What would you change about the Chantry?
The Circle of Magi has its place, but it needs reform. Let the mages govern themselves with our help. Let the Templars stand not as the jailers of mages, but as protectors of the innocent. We must be vigilant, but we must also be compassionate to all peoples of Thedas, human or no. That is what I would change.
I have influence, and I can use it to help the Chantry make up its mind.
I cannot ask you to do that.
You don't have to.
If you think that is the right thing to do, then thank you. I suppose I should not be so concerned. The clerics speak my name for now, nothing more. For now, restoring order and stopping Corypheus remain our priority.
Oh, Bells, it's you. Morris. Sir Morris, I suppose. I am serving as quartermaster for Skyhold and its arriving throngs. Stores are growing, and so long as we have fair coin to restock, you and yours will be well served.
What makes you ideal for this position? It's an important one.
My family has ties to several freehold militias, as well as cousins acting as officers in Ferelden and Orlais.
And your qualifications?
My family holds treaties with 3 new money Tevinter houses, and a rare Orzuma contract with a Paragon namesake.
And your qualifications?
To be honest, your worship, that was my question. I am the nexus of a dozen threads tied by others, designed to cast the widest and most appealing resource net. But I will rise to the occasion. Skyhold will want for nothing. I swear it.
How's it going? Do we have what we need?
With Skyhold shining like a beacon? You name it, it's here or on the way. I've wrung out the slackers, given them what for. I think I like this job.
There are problems coming out of Halam Shiral?
There are always problems from Halam Shiral. We've lost a few contracts, but more than made up for it. Although, if a few commendations were given, it might retie some severed threads. I couldn't suggest how. That is better decided at your war table, and I'm not going near that thing.
As you were.
We are here for you, Inquisitor.
You know I've got no problem with Orlesians, but Halam Shiral was a mess. At least under the Qun, you don't get everyone tripping on each other's dicks while the country goes to crap.
I hate politics.
You've got a crappy job then, boss.
One for the Empress, for Gaspar, Briala, the Duchess, and Corypheus, right in the dangle bag.
You think all those people should be treated the same?
After Halam Shiral? Kind of. They all get little people killed and don't care. A cook here, a footman there. What's it matter, right? So long as there's a butt for the throne. A pretty one, sure. But how many lives are worth one empress's arse? Ugh, that place. Should have just thrown in some bees and slammed the doors.
We decided the course of a nation. I think it was worthwhile.
Right, Orlais will never be the same. Except for everything they say and do. Ugh, you know the most important thing I got out of all of that mess? The one thing? Don't sleep with empresses. That's what that was all about. We patched their spat, Briala and the Celine. But without their breakup, none of it would have happened like that.
There was a lot more going on than a lover's spat.
Oh, sure.
There was.
Because of the hole in the sky, pfft. Plenty of idiots around before, and there'll be plenty of idiots around after. Better save some arrows, yeah?
I didn't understand the Grand Ball. It would have been easier if they said what they wanted.
That would have made everything much simpler.
The colors were pretty, though.
I'll talk to you later.
Probably.
What do you need?
Could be better.
Now this is a hall worthy of the Inquisition.
How bracing to be in the thick of the game again. The last time I was at Alam Shiral was Countess Letienne's wedding. There were a dozen affairs, 5 secret alliances, and a duel between 2 chevaliers over the vintage of an Antivan port. But until the Duchess was unmasked, I've never seen the Winter Palace in shock.
No one can say the evening wasn't memorable.
They've already begun composing songs about it in Val Royale, no doubt. The game's become increasingly insular in the past few years. Corypheus skillfully took advantage. It's disturbing so few people in the Orlesian court were aware of the Duchess's machinations.
The Empress realized she was in danger.
She's always in danger. Those loyal to her should have practiced more vigilance. But let's not lose sight of victory. Your actions at the ball have secured us allies and favors alike.
I kept dreading I'd drop the wrong spoon or step on a general's foot.
Well done. Feuds that spanned ages have sparked over less.
Really?
Inquisitor never underestimates the enmity of those for whom outrage is a sport. It's good to see you.
How do you stay so civil with everyone, Josephine?
Bonds of circumstance among the nobility are fickle. Civility is the only constant everyone admires. And I do deplore rudeness in those who know better.
Does it even become a strain sometimes?
Well, it can be trying. There is no shortage of self-regard among the nobility. The game can be wearying, discouraging, and extremely baneful. But honestly, I'd miss meeting people. I've made the most fascinating friends.
One good thing about becoming Inquisitor has been meeting so many different people.
I'm pleased. I imagine we appear a strange bunch to those outside our circle. Mages, Templars, Seekers, and an apostate elf are not often found working in harmony. Or at all.
Let's speak later.
Goodbye.
There are spirits hovering by the veil to observe the thrones of powerful nations, the machinations, betrayals. After our time in Halam Shirao, I understand why. I had forgotten how I missed court intrigue.
You missed court intrigue? When were you at court?
Oh, well, never directly, of course. An elven apostate is rarely invited to speak with empresses and kings. But from the Fade, I have watched dynasties form and empires crumble. It is sometimes savage, sometimes noble, and always fascinating. In any event, Celine should now be a steadfast ally. And Brialla as well, thanks to your efforts on her behalf.
I liked it. The Inquisition gets a valuable ally, and perhaps your people will get better treatment in Orlais.
How will mages be treated better? Oh, you mean elves? I'm sorry, I was confused. I do not consider myself to have much in common with the elves.
Who do you have much in common with? Who are your people?
A good question. I joined the Inquisition to save the world. Regardless of who my people are, this was the best way to help them. As for the elves of Orlais, I believe Brialla is doing quite well on their behalf. She is an admirable woman.
She's done good work. Hopefully with our help, she can help them even more.
Yes. However much I identify, or fail to identify, with her people, Brialla's efforts have been remarkable. She organized resistance against a powerful enemy, using only her wits and the resources at hand. That demands respect, especially in a world where most would look at her and only see a pair of pointed ears.
Inquisitor, I find myself in the unpleasant position of asking you for help. There is an alchemical formula that I must complete, but I have been unable to obtain a critical ingredient. The heart of a snowy wyvern. I had arranged to obtain one, but the chevaliers working with me were killed in the Civil War.
If I'm going to hunt down a snowy wyvern, I need you to tell me everything you know about it.
They're quite rare and exceedingly dangerous. Their venom is the most potent of any wyvern. Ordinary hunters would not make the attempt. The risk is too great. You, my dear, would certainly be an equal to this monster.
I didn't know you were an alchemist, Vivienne. What exactly is this project you're working on?
It is a special request from a member of the Council of Heralds. I am still the Imperial Court Enchanter, after all. The matter is private. That is all there is to say.
I'm not a hunter. Why do you think I can help?
This beast is not hunted for sport, as other wyverns sometimes are. It is far more deadly. In the past, chevaliers have been dispatched to either kill the creatures or drive them away from villages. Since my chevaliers have fallen to political conflict, I find myself in need of someone with a martial aptitude.
I'll do what I can.
Thank you, my dear. I would be most grateful. I shall give the location of its lair to Cullen. Remember, my dear, I must have its heart, or the potion will not work. I eagerly await your success. It took a great deal of skill to win that title for the elves, but you surely know it will end in a bloodbath.
I can't make heads or tails of this. Age regression. Who is this potion for?
So it's true. Some look to Cassandra or even me as Justinia's successor. I never thought the idea would gain momentum. Of course, with the other candidates out of the picture...
Why does the Divine need a successor? Who cares if her throne is empty?
If there's no divine, there is no chantry. Perhaps that is your wish. You may not think much of the Chantry Inquisitor, but we need it. You think Thedas hates mages now? If the Chantry falls, don't you think the people will blame magic? Look at all that's happened. Kirkwall's Chantry, the war, the breach. Mages are always involved. Without the Chantry to guide, that hatred will spiral out of control.
Wow. You really don't think highly of Thedosians.
The people care only for simple things. Their world is small, and everything beyond it is unknown and something to fear. They will continue to live like this, unless they can be shown another way. But this is a discussion for later. If Corypheus wins, finding a new divine will be the least of our problems. Inquisitor?
You seem to know a great many people.
I have made friends, and on occasion enemies. It's unavoidable.
What do you know of Morrigan?
She's changed. She used to be so disagreeable, cruel. She said things just to hurt people. Now the sharp edges have worn away. Perhaps it was Kieran. He seems so normal, like any other little boy, and so polite. Not that I was expecting anything else. I mean, never mind.
We can continue this conversation later.
You know where I am.
A working nursery, with not a space wasted. Will want for nothing.
You're the Inquisitor. You're very tall. Mother didn't say you were Qunari.
Oh? I'm told it's the first thing one notices about me.
I noticed your blood. It doesn't belong to your people.
Kieran, are you bothering the Inquisitor?
Of course not. Did you see what's on his hand, Mother?
I did see. 'Tis time to return to your studies, little man. My son. Never where you expect him to be, naturally.
I didn't know you had a son.
Why would you? I take great pains to not let my own reputation affect him in any way. To most in the Imperial Court, he's simply a quiet and well-spoken lad. Perhaps the heir of some distant family. But he goes where I go. Worry not, Inquisitor. Kieran is a curious boy, but seldom troublesome.
Will his father be joining us as well?
'Twould be most unlikely. His father helped raise Kieran for a time, but events have conspired to take him elsewhere. So 'tis but the two of us, Inquisitor. Your fortress is a large place, and you will scarce notice our presence.
He seems like a fine young man.
But not the sort one might expect a woman like me to raise. No son of mine would be raised in a marsh, bereft of contact with the outside world. His future will be difficult enough without my adding to his burden. To think, until recently this place stood decrepit, occupied only by the desperate and the lost. Now it is party to events that threaten to shake the world. I wonder if it is pleased.
It sounds like you've heard of Skyhold before.
This fortress was built upon the remains of a site holy to the ancient elves. They called it Tarar Salan, the place where the sky is kept. It is said that from here, they reached up to the heavens to bring them down to rest. They abandoned it, as did the humans who came after them. Bones laid upon bones,
silent until your arrival.
We were lucky to have found it when we did.
Fate is often mistaken for luck, as Mother is fond of saying. The magic in this place has seeped into the stones, protecting it from darkness. Those who let it fall to ruin did not know what they possessed. You, I think, shall do it justice. You were kind to welcome my aid, Inquisitor, even knowing as little of me as you do. I will do my best to aid your cause with all the knowledge at my disposal. This I swear to you.
I appreciate whatever help you can give us.
Some might think Corypheus a madman for seeking godhood. Yet one must ask, what were the old gods? What secrets of theirs did the ancient magisters know? What I fear, what all should fear, is not that Corypheus believes he can succeed. 'Tis that he actually may. Greetings, Inquisitor.
I'd like to know more about you.
Ah, yes. Whence comes the mystery woman slinking her way into the Inquisition's ranks? Once I was an apostate, living well away from the banal influence of the Chantry in the Qunari wilds. Then came the Fifth Blight with its darkspawn, and I left Ferelden for the Empress's court. 'Tis certain the nobles of Orlais breathe a collective sigh of relief that I am now here.
It's odd that an apostate could live so openly.
It confuses those who expect apostates to cower and hide. I stand boldly before them and demand to know why I need some Chantry mage to teach me to control my power. They would put me on a leash so they can feel safer at night. I am uninterested in their comfort. Naturally, it helps to have friends in high places.
You were in Ferelden during the Blight?
The Blight began in the Qunari wilds, so yes, I experienced it firsthand. Indeed, I fought at the hero of Ferelden's side for a time. He is the reason the Blight was defeated. We became close. Closer than I even thought possible. When I left, he pursued me. And after that, I came to Orlais. The last place one would look for me, or such was my hope.
The Orlesian court seems like an odd place to find someone like you.
That was the point, originally. I knew the Empress was intrigued by the arcane, and that I could answer questions no Chantry mage could. Thus, we fit together nicely. I became her advisor, and she my benefactor and source of refuge. Truth be told, our arrangement would not have lasted much longer. Too many wagging tongues, even for Celine.
Tell me more about your son.
He is a very special young man.
Special in what way?
In every way. At first, Kieran was a means to an end. But as he grew, I never thought of myself as a mother, Inquisitor. I had no good example to follow. I find myself becoming something I can barely recognize.
I leave you to the garden.
Until next time, then.
Inquisitor, if you're looking for the commander, he's gone to speak with Seeker Pentecost.
And how much did you need?
asked for my opinion, and I've given it. Why would you expect it to change?
I expect you to keep your word. It's relentless. I can't...
You give yourself too little credit.
If I'm unable to fulfill what vows I kept, then nothing good has come of this. Would you rather save face than admit... We will speak of this later.
And people say I'm stubborn. This is ridiculous. Cullen told you that he's no longer taking lyrium.
It seemed very important to him.
It's not a decision to be made lightly. But now, Cullen has asked that I recommend a replacement for him. I refused. It's not necessary. Besides, it would destroy him. He's come so far.
Why didn't he come to me?
We had an agreement long before you joined us. As a Seeker, I could evaluate the dangers.
Shouldn't this be Cullen's decision?
Mages have made their suffering known, but Templars never have. They are bound to the Order, mind and soul, with someone always holding their lyrium leash. Cullen has a chance to break that leash, to prove to himself, and anyone who would follow suit, that it's possible. He can do this. I knew that when we met in Kirkwall. Talk to him. Decide if now is the time.
Maker's breath. I didn't hear you enter. Forgive me.
Cullen, if you need to talk.
You don't have... I never meant for this to interfere.
Are you going to be all right?
Yes. I don't know. You asked what happened to Ferelden's Circle. It was taken over by abominations. The Templars, my friends, were slaughtered. I was tortured. They tried to break my mind, and I... How can you be the same person after that? Still, I wanted to serve. They sent me to Kirkwall. I trusted my Knight Commander, and for what? Her fear of mages ended in madness. Kirkwall's Circle fell. Innocent people died in the streets. Can't you see why I want nothing to do with that life?
Of course I can.
Don't. You should be questioning what I've done. I thought this would be better. That I would regain some control over my life, but these thoughts won't leave me. How many lives depend on our success? I swore myself to this cause. I will not give less to the Inquisition than I did to Chantry. I should be taking it. I should be taking it.
You give enough, Cullen. I'm not asking you for more. The Inquisition can be your chance to start over. If you want it to be.
I don't know if that's possible.
It is.
All right.
Grand, to know the sanctity of our great East.
Good book?
Ah! I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, because I suddenly went blind.
Oh, that. Just reports from Commander Cullen.
You're an excellent liar.
It's of no interest to you, I'm certain. It's a book.
I can see that.
It's one of Varric's tales. Swords and Shields, the latest chapter.
So you like to read? What's wrong with that?
It's frivolous. There are more important things for me to do.
That's just her favorite.
Nobody asked you to winter.
I couldn't finish the last one you lent me. I actually feel dumber for having tried.
It's literature. Smutty literature. Whatever you do, don't tell Varric.
Maybe I should read that book.
You? No.
Why not me?
You're the Inquisitor.
Oh, I see.
They're terrible. And magnificent. And this one ends in a cliffhanger. I know Varric is working on the next. He must be. You could ask him to finish it. Command him to... Pretend you don't know this about me.